I've been unwell this week and had to have a few days off work, so there was no reading for me, unfortunately, which is kind of gutting because I had a 40-day reading streak on Fable, which is now back to 0. However, as the week started to go on, I did begin to feel a little bit better and was able to start picking up some reading again, started with my current reads again, and this is a new book, a new contemporary romance that I thought I'd give a go just for some light fun vibes while I was starting to feel better before I get into the nitty-gritty of my current reads, of my thriller and my romancy books that I was reading in part 1. Excuse the absolute state of me. I'm in the process of getting ready, so I probably look a little bit weird, but the book mail that I was waiting for in part 1 of this episode of Current Reads Catch Up has finally arrived. Took its time, but it's got here eventually. So here we go. I had already slightly opened it just to have a sneak peek because I couldn't wait until I had time to record, but here we are. I'm kind of scared for this one, I'm not gonna lie. It looks very pretty. It actually isn't too thick. I'm kind of liking the look of how thin it is compared to some fantasy books out there. I've seen a lot of good reviews on this, and as I said in my previous video, I confused this with Wild Reverence because I saw a couple of TikTokers making videos about this one and Wild Reverence, and for some reason my mind merged the two. This is the one that's got time travel in and I think is fantasy with romance. Main plot of this is definitely more fantasy centered, which is what's making me nervous because I did warm up to Throne of Glass in the end, but it just took me a very, very long time. So I'm nervous whether I will enjoy it. Obviously, there's not much room in this, it seems, to really fall in love with it if it's going to be very fantasy focused. If you are a romantasy gal who has read this or know someone that's read it and know their sort of views on it, please can you let me know and reassure me in the comments that this is going to be okay, that I will like this. If I'm a romantasy girl, it's fine because it's just written so well. Or if you didn't like it, be honest. I want to set my expectations with it, and also I don't love a time travel theme trope, so I don't really know why I've bought this because I don't like fantasy with romance as much as I love romantasy, and I'm not huge on time travel, but I've been assured that for some reason the way it's written in this book is really, really good, that it doesn't feel how it normally does, which is why I've decided to take a chance on something different. If I'm making these videos now, I want to push myself out of my comfort zone. I'm getting back into thrillers, so why not? So I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to let you know as I go. I'm going to keep you in the loop and we will see how I get on. It is, how many pages? Yeah, so it's only 300 or so pages. It's not going to be a huge ask if I don't like it. I'll commit to about 100 pages a day and we will just see how I get on when I do it. Let me know your comments so I can set anticipations and then come and join me for episode 2 where I will be reading this as my fantasy romance read. The thrillers and the contemporary are still to be confirmed, so please get them in the comments, any thriller recommendations. If they are darker, please do give me a heads up so I can read them in the mornings, but I will commit to them a bit more than I have the Chris Carter one to get through them quicker for you. Or let me know your contemporary ones. Do I carry on with the Chestnut Springs series? Is book 3 as good as book 2? I don't want to kind of go into the third book if it's not as good and then end the high I am on with it. I might need to take a break and come back, or give me sport, contemporary romance, or just any your favourite contemporary romance, and I will go and read it, and then you can come and watch an episode 2, my thoughts, and see if they align with yours. I've just started a new contemporary. I know, by the way, I will give you my Heartless thoughts once I am 100% better, so this will be a little bit out of order, but I've started a new contemporary romance today just for some light reading to try and get me back into it, and it's called Rally. It's saying it's book 3 of a series, but I didn't know that. Okay, anyway, I love it when at the start of a book, like, the MNC is like, yeah, do you not know who I am? And then, like, the FMC is absolutely oblivious to who they are, and they're like, no, why have you heard of me? Like, that's what she's just done. She's been like, why would I have heard of you? And he's like, seriously? And she's like, seriously, have you heard of me? Like, she's just completely oblivious. It always makes me giggle so much. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. However, I am a bit apprehensive now. I saw someone recommend it on TikTok and they didn't allude to the fact it was part of a series, and I'm worried whether I needed to have read the others, but I'm already in it now, so we'll see how this one goes. I am perhaps going to also try and read some of Wild Reverance tonight, see if I can get a bit more into that, maybe set myself a goal of 100 pages or 50 pages, see how well I'm feeling. And then tomorrow I'm hopefully going to be straight back on the Chris Carter thrillers in the morning, doing my chapters as I go. I'm going to really try and get a good solid few in tomorrow if I can get up like early enough. And I will bring you my Heartless thoughts as I have finished it. I finished it early Saturday morning. So kind of not too long after where we ended on part 1 with it, really, because it was just that good that I struggled to put it down enough to drag it out with the others. So that's why I'm doing another one, because I assume by the time I finish these 2, I'll have finished this one anyway. So may as well give you another contemporary romance. And I guess I'll let you know whether you need to have read the other 2 before you read this one, because I'm going in blind, and yeah, I'll let you know. Let's give it a go. Let's see how much I can read tonight, health dependent, but I would say I am literally just shy of halfway. So I guess the next 100 pages are really going to be a deal breaker with this book, because if I don't feel like I'm really loving it, I don't know if I'll continue. But then there are bits already that I'm intrigued about, but then it loses me through the pacing that we were discussing in part 1. So I guess if it really doesn't grab me, it might be a DNF. If it does, then, you know, there have been some promising bits of this book, which I'm hoping pull through, then who knows, I might have a great time. So I guess this is probably the most important 100 pages of the book for me to decide whether I'm fully in this and whether it's worth reading. So we shall see. An absolute essential when I'm feeling unwell, by the way. That's how you know I'm unwell. I usually hate this drink, but when I drink this, you know I've had a rough ride. So hopefully it can give me some energy, as I am not that far into my 2 reads tonight and I am already feeling quite tired. So I'm hoping if I can get a lot of this down me and some food later without throwing it up, then I'll be able to stick at it and get some pages in, as I've missed reading. I know it's only been 2 days, but I have really been missing it. So even if I can just do a little bit, maybe not as much as I'd hoped, yeah, it's better than nothing, isn't it? And I can stick in these worlds, because there's nothing worse than having a long period out, especially on a book like this one where I've not been massively in it. It's had like little sparks that have like begun to grab me, and then they faded, and then I've now had a few days off it, so that's never great. So yeah, I'm hoping I can really get some energy to do a slog tonight. Oh, I did not think to wake you, but only because I am often alone. Oh, bless her. I've just finished Raleigh. I'm about to rate it. I probably would rate it 4 stars, to be honest. I read it in one sitting in like 3 hours, and I kind of thought it was a bit different to the normal like pregnancy scare ones that you have, because they kind of jump straight into her getting pregnant and then build the relationship, which like normally, I've not read a lot of that type of book, but like normally the FMC like has some form of like longer relationship in those style of books that I've read with the MMC before it happens, and then it's kind of dealing with it after. So I thought it was quite refreshing and different in that sense. I also can firmly say you do not have to read books 1 and 2 in this series to understand this, because I had absolutely no idea it was a series and was absolutely fine in that book. Well, that book was very much a standalone as far as I'm concerned. There are other characters in it, and there's a guy called Maverick, which is like the best friend in this, and I think his book is the next one, and I'm kind of intrigued to read that to see where it goes. So I actually think I might dive straight into that as my contemporary read. But this is the problem. I get through so many contemporaries because I just think they're so fun, like, and devourable, and you can eat them up in one sitting. So I do tend to get through them a lot quicker than the romance and thriller reads. I didn't end up actually picking up Wild Reverance again tonight. I mean, I did a few pages. My plan was to go back to it, but I got a bit too caught up in this one. So I'm hoping tomorrow, as long as I'm feeling better still, I'll read my thriller in the morning and I'll dedicate tomorrow night to Wild Reverance, and then hopefully I'm back on track with them. I just think, as I say, it's been a few days out of sorts with illness and stuff, and then I've just wanted something light to get back into it all, and I'll pick up my proper reading, as I kind of guilt myself into saying, tomorrow. Morning guys, I will be reading my thriller this morning. I got up a bit later than I wanted, but obviously my body's still recovering, it must need rest, so I'm going to get about 20 minutes in of reading before work. I'm hoping I can make a dent in it, and then I'll probably use some of my lunch to also read it, because I am getting a bit conscious. I have been reading this for a long time now and I'm not even halfway. But I hope if I read some this morning and give it a good punt at lunch, then I could get a good way with it. And then in the evening, if I read some Wild Reverence, I've made good progress with both today. And I always forgot to say, I've got a coffee this morning, which is also how I know I'm feeling better, because I can stomach a coffee. So I'm very excited to have some of this as well. So this should give me some energy to push through with my reads today. Have an idea of the MO for the unaliver in this case now at this point. Like, I feel like I'm figuring out what I think the detectives are beginning to look into. They haven't quite got there in the book yet, so I'm taking that as a win if it is right. But I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone if anyone does want to read this, but I do think I am twigging what the MO may be. I'm hoping I'm right, because I've had so many thrillers recently where I just can't figure out what it is, and it's kind of making me think I've lost my mojo with them. I used to always be able to, there or thereabouts, get an idea of where the story was going, and this I'm a bit more like, is the first one I think since I've got back into reading them that I'm thinking I think I might have sussed the MO, but we'll see. I think I know what's happening now. Let's hope I'm right. Hello, I didn't get as far today on my lunch as I'd hoped. I am, I think safe to say, just halfway or just over halfway now. So we've made a bit of progress today. I'm confident in that. I didn't make as much progress as I had hoped because I had a bit of a chaotic lunch where I didn't end up taking the full lunch, and I didn't manage to pull myself out of bed as early as I'd ever liked to this morning. But it isn't freaking me out as much as I thought it would, and I'm home alone, so I'm actually being pretty brave reading this tonight. But I'm going to try and get a good, at least another 100 pages, I think, to, you know, get it a good chunk of the way, and then in the next morning or two hammer it. And then I am going to pick this one back up, and I'm not letting myself get fooled by any more contemporary romances. As much as I want to go back to Chestnut Springs and the Wildcat series, I am going to do at least 100 pages of this one tonight. I'm getting, honestly, between the two of these, I'm getting sick of them just because they've been around for so long. Like, they're getting a bit stalemate. They've been lingering. This has been lingering for nearly 3 weeks, and this is coming up to like a week and a half, and that is, for me, a long time for a book to be hanging over me. I think even if I enjoy this in the end, it's certainly been a slog. It's certainly been a tug of war with myself to get me to read it. So I don't think, even if the next half is going to be life-changing, I don't think it's going to be life-changing enough to entice me to give it a good, it's never going to be a 5-star. I think the most I'm hoping for this now is like a 3 or 3.5. So I am going to carry on. There have been good moments, so I'm going to have faith that there's more good moments to come. Hopefully you'll see me smash these out tonight. I'm in my little reading cozy corner. I feel better. I'm armed with a different form of Lucozade tonight, so we will see whether I actually manage to achieve these goals. They may be somewhat delusional with me, not 100%, but I'm hoping I can get through it. I ideally want them done, really, on Friday morning. I'm going to Newcastle for Valentine's weekend. I don't really want to be taking these with me to try and fit them in the mornings and in the car. I'd rather just take my Kindle, and then it's small, transportable, and I'll probably have time for a cheeky little half of a contemporary over the weekend in the mornings when my partner's asleep or something. So that's my ammunition, that's my motivation. Let's hopefully see if I can finally finish them and we can get this vlog finalised. I'm sorry, but Robert Hunter in this, I'm not a visual reader, so I have no idea what he looks like, I'm going to preface, but I just have a good feeling. Like, I just feel like he's a swoony guy. I feel like I'd swoon if I saw him in real life. He's just so smooth. They've been trying to get a hold of this certain character in this book because they want to speak to him, and everyone else he's been so rude to, not picking up the phone, and then they're in a meeting and they're just like, Detective Hunter, we've got the person on the line for you. And then everyone looks at him and someone's like, what sort of compelling message did you leave him? And he just like nonchalantly shrugs and is like, put him through. Like, no big deal. No one else can get hold of him, but it's no problem for me. Like, no challenge too big. This man, it's not even about him, by the way. Like, this, if you've not read that, it's not even about him, but he's the detective in every book, and I just feel he's got that, he's like a bit of a rogue guy. He's a bit of like that rugged look. Yeah, he's got that rugged energy about him, and I just live for it. He's just so cool. I absolutely live for it. Close call. I can feel my heart going then. I was like, this cannot happen. I like this character. No. But hi guys, it's Thursday lunchtime, so just the afternoon to push through before I can get all excited for my Valentine's trip. I'm off tomorrow and we're not going to the afternoon, so I'm hoping to get a really good reading amount in tomorrow morning. But I've still not had a chance to tell you my Heartless thought, so sorry it's taken so long. I absolutely loved Heartless. Like, I am so humbled by my opinion at the outset that I wasn't sure I was going to like it. I've been quite vocal about the fact I didn't like Flawless. This is your sign. Any anti-Chestnut Springs girl that have only read the first book, please go and read Heartless, because oh my god, it was so good. I love Cade and Willa. I want Willa as my friend, and I get it with Cade. I don't even normally like age gap, but I get it with Cade. Like, I'm gonna level. I fully see that. This is your sign. I thought the banter was there. I thought the tension was there. I was staying up late to read it. I just had a great time. And I think with contemporaries, that's all personally, because I don't read them all the time. I go to them for the good time. They're like 5-star feels that are like 3.5-star reads. I'd even actually say that Heartless was a 4-star, and that's how you know it was a good contemporary romance. So I'm a Chestnut Spoon Scaler now, minus the first one so far. I haven't read the next one yet. Heard mixed things about book 3. I really have. And book 4 is apparently 2 and 4 are like the ones. What are people thinking about book 3? Do I just skip to book 4, or do I read book 3? Do I go for it and see how I feel? Help me out. If you have read all of it in the comments, guide me through. Do I just skip book 3? Is it worth my time? Honestly, coming off the back of these two in the nicest way, I'm a bit more in this now because I did do more than a couple of chapters last night. I did quite a few. I've got 100 pages left, so on the remainder of my lunch, I might try and get through as much of this as I can, because tonight I'm a bit busy until later on, so I don't realistically know how much I'm going to be able to read until tomorrow morning. I also did get a bit further with this one. I read about 100 pages of that one as well. So there was good progress last night to say. I've not been 100%. I am quite pleased with it, but there's still a good chunk of reading left to do. So I'm going to read a little bit on my lunch while I can. And then I am going to see what time I get in tonight. I don't anticipate I'm going to have time. So in the morning, I'm hoping I can certainly polish the remainder of this one off and bring you some final thoughts. And I can try and get most of that one done. And I'm just going to be glad for these to be out of my hair. Like, they're becoming a drag. They're becoming a bit of a drain. And it's not a discredit, especially our guy Chris. This is not about Chris. This is about how long it is taking me to read it, because I was so scared of trying to read this in the evenings that I've set myself up for failure with it. Because when I'm reading it in the evening, last night, first go of like consecutively reading it in an evening like I would read my normal books, I was fine. And there was like maybe one moment I was like, oh, was that a noise? But on the whole, fine. And I got so much more into it. So this is not about our guy Chris. Like, I don't even think I could fairly review this. I obviously will give you a rating. I think it's at a 3.5. So this could get to a 4 if I can like read the last 100 pages and it really picks up in a bit more of a concise setting. It makes me nervous for the next thriller read, because that is apparently scary, and I'm gonna have to do the same thing. And then I think, do I rate it well then if I'm gonna have to do that? So yeah, maybe not. But this one was scraping for a 3 at the moment. I'm going to be so glad to just get back to my contemporaries. I am, regardless of what happens with these two, starting a contemporary romance tomorrow on the car in the way to Newcastle, because it's Valentine's. It's Valentine's weekend. And I'm going to do a separate Valentine's vlog, I think. So you can stay tuned for whatever I choose to try and get some reading in over the weekend and finish. It'll be a relatively quick job, I think. I'm always quite quick with contemporaries. But yeah, I guess let's get into trying to get through some of this on my lunch. Can I just say, this is a lot easier with the Kindle, because you don't have to worry about the page using the Cheerio bowl to page crease it. So I'm out of practice with this method, so we'll see how we get on doing both at once, I guess. Yesterday when I said that, I thought I got the sort of MO and thought I'd finally twigged it. I still don't know, that's still to be confirmed, so that may be right. Did not see what I've just found out coming whatsoever. And even when the detectives have mentioned it, I was kind of like, they've not really hinted towards that. I don't really know. But then why would it be in it? So maybe, but I would not see that coming. Did not see that coming. guys, I finally finished my last 2 books in this current read series. It ended in typical Chris Carter form. It picked up in the latter half of the book, and especially the last quarter, I was very much in it. I didn't put it down from that point. I would give this 4 stars. It wasn't the 5-star magic of his normal work. I don't know why. It makes me a little bit sad, but I think also a part did play with me reading 2 chapters in the morning for half to 3/4 of the book. So there was a stalling aspect to it. But yeah, if you love Chris Carter, you will like it, because in Chris Carter we do trust. I'm glad it's over, is all I need to really say on this one. I don't like giving a star with a 2 in, so I'm going to go with a 3, but it has scraped a 3. This has worked hard for the 3. Like, it's only just getting there. Anything above a 3-star, I feel people typically take the recommendation on with set expectation. I don't know. I think you have to like Rebecca Ross's writing. You have to like Divine Rivals, I imagine. And then you probably love this. I did not read Divine Rivals, probably for the reason I shouldn't have read this. I'm not into overly descriptive writing. It's like I'm more of a show and tell. Show me, don't tell me. That felt very much they're in love. Let me feel it. I want to feel it in my soul. I don't want to watch it from afar or hear about it extremely descriptively. So I think it's a style thing. She's obviously produced a very beautiful book, a very beautifully written piece of work, which I really was enjoying. The first few chapters, the novelty of it was there, but when you are in a book for 500 odd pages, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Like, I need the more punchy writing. It needs to change. The pacing fell off. The pacing felt really good at moments, and I was really in it, and I was thinking, oh God, I'm finally in it. I don't want to put it down. When did that happen? And then it would just mellow again, and it would go back to, I don't know, it would just go back to what it had been, where I'm stalling and I'm not, oh, do I have to pick it up? So 3 stars. I think she deserves a lot of credit for the way she writes. Beautiful, will work for a lot of people. If that is you, there you go, take the rec. But it just wasn't for me, and I think that's fine. I think it's just, I don't need to read Divine Rivals. Someone tell me in the comments how this links to Divine Rivals. I really don't want to read it. So yeah, overall fairly successful, I would say, because we had 2 4-star reads and 1 3-star. It's not terrible, is it? I'm going to be reading this one, which I literally started 3 pages of last night, as my fantasy romance. I don't know. Let me know. Is this romancy or is it fancy with romance? And if you are a romancy girl, did you like this then? Because that's what scares me. So let me know. Thanks for coming and watching this current reads cozy catch up with me. I've enjoyed making it. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. But yeah, stay tuned for my next 3 reads. I am very, very excited.